Hi everyone, and welcome to a beginner-friendly version of my Tabata Superset class. I have another beginner Tabata workout on my channel that is a big hit. I posted a few years ago, and I always get requests for another one, so ask and you shall receive. No equipment is needed today. We're going to do all body weight exercises, and if you're new to the Tabata structure, this is how it works. We're going to do 3 different Tabata supersets today. So in each superset, I'm going to give you 2 exercises, and you alternate between the 2 using an interval structure of 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, 8 times. So that's 4 minutes of work on and off. In between each of the 3 supersets, you're going to get a full minute to recover. And during that full minute, I will give you a preview of the upcoming exercises. All the moves we're doing today are beginner friendly. However, for some of them in the corner of the screen, you will notice a slightly more advanced option. So at any point during this class, if you're not feeling challenged enough, take that slightly harder version when it is given to you. We're going to start class with a quick guided warm-up that'll focus a little bit on mobility and gradually bringing our heart rate up so we're warm and ready to go. And then we'll finish up this class with a quick guided cool down as well. Now with all that said, let's go right into our warm-up. We're going to start with just some movement of the spine. So standing up nice and tall, let's start with a big inhale. As you inhale through the nose, I want you to expand through the rib cage laterally and into your back. So really a 3-dimensional expansion. And then as you exhale through the mouth, I want you to start to knob the chin, and vertebrae by vertebrae, you're going to roll forward down into this forward fold. As you inhale, we're going to reverse it, stack the spine back up tall. Let's do that twice more. Exhale, knob the chin, upper, mid, lower spine, and lock the knees, come into that forward fold. Inhale, stack the spine vertebrae by vertebrae up tall. One more time. Exhale, roll forward. Inhale, stack the spine back up tall, and then I want you to reach those arms out to the side, palms face forward. We're going to come into some arm circles. Start small with the arm circles, and it doesn't matter the direction because we'll switch. Now we're going to gradually make these circles a little bigger and a little bigger, and as the circles get bigger, those arms are going to start to sweep in front of the body and then out to the side. When you sweep them out to the side, make sure you're not losing connection to your rib cage, so I don't want you to puff open through the ribs and arch into your back. You should be at your biggest circle now for 3, 2, 1, and let's switch direction of the circles. Start small. And again, gradually just make those circles a little bigger, mobilizing through the shoulder joint here. As those circles get bigger, arms sweep in front of the body. You're at your biggest circle now for 3, circle for 2, 1, and now I want you to reach those arms up overhead, palms face forward. We're going to add in a hip hinge. So as you hinge at the hips, so you slide those hips back, unlocking through the knees, you're going to sweep your arms back behind you, open through the chest. And then you're just going to stand it up tall, arms come overhead. Now, same thing we were talking about with those circles. When your arms come overhead, we don't puff open through the rib cage. So you maintain that connection to your abdominals. Hips slide back and forward. As you slide those hips back, you're maintaining a neutral spine. 2 more. Last time. And then you can lower your hands to heart center. And we're going to keep the hip hinge, but we're going to add in a squat, so you might need to separate your feet a couple inches. So we're going to hinge at the hips. Then you're going to bend the knees, dropping your tailbone down. And then you're going to stand it up tall. Don't worry about how low that squat is. It's early. Hinge at the hips, bend through the knees, stand up tall. Now we're going to focus a little more on the hip joint coming up. Next time you're in your squat, I want you to hold that squat. So you hinge, bend at the knees, and now hold the squat position. So let's check. Knees are tracking forward in line with your toes, and your feet are about shoulders distance apart, maybe even a little wider. Now we're going to rotate within the hip joint, kind of pivoting on our heels, staying in the semi-squat position. So you're going to lift your toes up, and you're going to externally rotate. So now you're in kind of the sumo stance position. I need to separate my feet just a little wider. And then we're going to bring them back forward. Now, if going both together isn't working, I want you to go one at a time. Externally rotate, other foot, bring it forward. Now, as you do this, really think about where the turnout is coming. It's not coming from the knees and the feet, although yes, they are moving, but they're moving as a result of the turnout from the hips. So really picture your thigh bone rotating within that hip joint. We're doing this in the warm-up because you are going to see a movement in our actual class. where we go forward and then we have that external rotation. Again, either both feet together or go one at a time, out and in. Give me 3 more. 2 more. Last time. Stand it up. Now to finish this warm up, just a little bit of light cardio. We're going to start with a semi squat to a butt kick. You don't have to come low in the squat. Down a couple inches, and then as you come up, pull one heel in towards your bum. Side to side like that. Semi squat, butt kick. Heel to the seat. So we're building a little bit of warmth in the body, and we're also actively opening up through the quads here, the top of your thighs. We have 2 moves in this light cardio section. Next one is going to be a jumping jack variation. We're going to step instead of jump though with a chest fly of the arms. In 3, 2, 1. We're going to take it to that step jack. So 1 leg at a time, out and in. You could also do both arms together as you step and step. Up to you. So maybe you add in a little speed here. If you want to advance it and take it to a full jumping jack, you can. Otherwise, we're just stepping and stepping with a little bit of speed. Now we're going to go through these 2 moves one more time. So we'll go back to our little squat to butt kick. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Squat, butt kick. Warm-up is almost over. We'll get into our Tabatas. It's so important to properly warm up. We'll go back to our step jack to finish. In 4, 3, little bend, 2, 1, step jack to finish. Either both arms together, out and in, or one at a time, stepping with that foot. Tap, tap. Give me 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. I'm going to show you our first 2 exercises. First exercise, we're going to be challenging balance and stability on one leg while we focus on movement within the hip joint on the other leg. It's going to be a march with a pull of the arms. The knee lifts up in front of you and then out to the side, just tapping that foot down. Now, if balance is an issue, then for this one, I want you to have a chair or stand close to a wall so you can keep one hand on it for balance. And you would just do that pull with one arm, okay? Second exercise is going to be a back lunge with a pulse at the bottom, and then you come to stand. Now for this one, I will have a more advanced option, plank. So if you're not feeling challenged enough, instead of doing a pulse at the bottom, you will give me a little hop. Completely optional, just there if you need it. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We will alternate legs as we go. Let's get to it. So you're gonna mirror me. Our right leg is gonna be our stabilizing side to start. So spread out through those right toes. Square through the pelvis, and the left knee will march up and then out to the side as our arms reach. If you're using something for balance, have it on your right side. Let's go. March forward, open to the side. As you lift the knee, I want you to do it on an exhale so we stay connected through our abdominals as we do this. Rest. Now our right leg is still going to be the focus. It is going to stay planted. Our left foot will step back into that lunge, adding in a pulse at the bottom. Left foot steps back, pulse at the bottom, and stand. When you stand, think of squeezing into your right side seat. Pulse to the top. At any point, if you're not feeling challenged enough, take that advanced version, doing a hop instead of a pulse. Rest. Okay, we're going to shift the focus into our left leg now. Spread out through those left toes, ground down. We're going to balance on this left side as the right knee marches. Arms overhead. Pull. So we don't have any weights in the arms, but I want you to picture you're pulling down on something. We're staying really energized through the upper body while we challenge the hip flexors on that right side and our balance on the left. Rest. All right, this left leg is going to ground down. Right foot will step back into our lunge. Back lunge, pulse, stand. I want you to get low in the lunge, as low as you can, and make sure that this front knee is staying pretty much stacked over your front heel. And rest. Okay, we're gonna go back to focusing on the right side. So spread out through those right toes, ground down through that right leg. Left knee will march up and down. March forward, open to the side. When you tap the foot down, try not to transfer weight into it. It's a light tap. Lift. Rest. Okay. Right foot stays planted. Left foot will step back into that lunge. Square through the hips. When you step into the back lunge, let's go. Slight hinge forward with the torso. So my shoulders are over that front knee at the bottom. If you're ready to dial up the challenge, look to that advanced version in the corner. And don't be put off by the word advanced. It's just a progression from this move. Rest. Okay, final set. So spread out through those left toes. We're going to balance on the left side, right knee marches. Mirror me. March, bring it open. Now when you lift open, try not to roll open through the pelvis. Rest. All right, left foot forward, right foot will step back into our lunge. Back lunge with that pulse. And done. So you get a full minute to recover now. Grab a drink of water. I'm going to show you our next two exercises. In this superset, we're again going to come back to this idea of finding different rotations within the hip joint. So first exercise, you're going to be in a sumo squat position. So you'll be externally rotated within the hip joint. We're going to stay low and pulse. And as we pulse, you lift one heel up and then the next heel up. If lifting the heels isn't working for you or it bothers your ankles, you're just going to pulse, keeping your heels down. Second exercise is going to be an air squat with a pulse at the bottom. I will show a progression for that one. So just like we did in the previous superset, if you want more of a challenge, you can dial the intensity up on that one by hopping instead of pulsing. Totally up to you. All right, let's go. We're going to start in our sumo stance position. So I want a wide stance with the legs and then turning out through the hips, find that sumo position. From here, we're going to bend the knees, sinking low. You can stay a little more upright through the torso than a normal squat. Make sure knees are tracking in line with toes. We're going to pulse, lifting one heel up at a time. Pulse. That heel lowers. Pulse. Other side. Lift a heel. Other side. Little pulses as you lift. Now you're not lifting the heel too high because I don't want you to roll out on the ankle, okay? Really plant down through the big toe. Rest. All right, now our toes point straight forward. We're no longer externally rotated. Air squat with a pulse at the bottom. And feet step in so they're about shoulders distance apart. Down, one pulse, stand. Now as you do this, you want the knees tracking in line with your middle toes or even the pinky toes. So make sure those knees aren't collapsing inward of the big toes. That'll rest. That'll ensure we get the glutes to fire. All right, let's find our sumo stance. Wide, externally rotated. We sink low. We're going to start to pulse, lifting one heel up at a time. And if lifting the heels isn't working for you, you're going to keep both heels down and you would just do that pulse. Rest. So walk the feet in a little narrower, toes point straight forward, air squat with that pulse at the bottom. Down, one pulse. Now just because I have a progression option playing on this one does not mean you have to take it. I'd much rather you master the form, on this version before adding in any jumping, okay? And that is a good rule of thumb for any exercise. Rest. Halfway there, wide stance. Out turn comes from the hips. So don't feel like your toes have to be super wide, okay? It's just whatever external rotation your hip joint allows. If you're tight through the hips, your toes might not be out to the side very far at all, and that is fine. Pulse and lift. One heel up, then the next. Rest. Walk the feet in a little narrower, toes point straight ahead, air squat with a pulse at the bottom. Let's go. When you come up to stand out of this one, you're squeezing the glutes, but also bracing through your abdominals so you don't hyperextend into the lower back. Rest. All right, one more time each exercise. Wide stance. Find your external rotation. Maybe it's bigger than mine, maybe it's smaller than mine. And we pulse. So you'll notice I pulse heels down, pulse one lifted. Pulse heels down, pulse other side. It can be a little funky to get the rhythm down of it. So again, if it's not happening, just keep your heels down and just pulse for me. Rest. Feet come in more like shoulders distance apart. Toes and knees point straight ahead. Final 20 seconds. Down to the bottom, one pulse, stand. Now, if adding in that pulse is too much, you can just give me a regular air squat, okay? Down and up, take out the pulse. You always have options. Done. Okay, you have a minute to recover. I'm going to show you our final two exercises. They'll be down on the mat. Our final superset is going to focus on upper body and core. First up, it's a tricep dip. So we're going to do it with our butt sitting on the floor. If you want to advance that one though, you would just lift your hips up to a couple inch hover and do it from there. Second exercise, it's going to be a modified bicycle crunch. So you're picking one foot off of the mat at a time in an ab curl position, twisting side to side. If you want to progress that one, you would give me a full bicycle crunch with feet off of the mat, extending one leg out and then the next. And those options will be playing on the screen if you'd like to take them at any point, even if it's just for one interval. All right, let's go. So yes, this first exercise is a tricep dip for the back of the arms, but it's also a big challenge for our shoulders. So I want fingertips pointing forward, spread out through them, and then I want you to press the mat away, opening up through your chest. But I don't want you to puff out through the rib cage, so then abdominals draw in. Now we're going to try to keep the chest open as we start to bend those elbows. Little bend, and press them straight. Now I want your elbows bending straight back, so don't let them bow out to the sides. Rest. Now we're going to come down to the mat. Knees are bent, feet are flat, hands at the base of your skull. Exhale, come into an ab curl position. We're going to twist side to side, opposite shoulder towards opposite knee as you pick one foot off of the mat at a time. So I want you to try to keep your head off of the mat the whole time. So we're maintaining this ab curl position. You have your hands to support your neck. Rest. Hand behind the thigh to roll yourself up tall. Feet plant, spread out through those hands. Open through the chest, but connected to your core. Wrap those elbows back, and it's a little bend and press. So half the challenge of this is just not letting your shoulders roll forward. So as you bend the elbows, I don't want your shoulders to collapse in. You really have to think broad across your collarbones. This is a shoulder mobility exercise just as much as it is a tricep exercise. And roll down to the mat. On an exhale, find that ab curl position. And then we'll twist it side to side. On an exhale, one knee picks up, then the next. Now there's a slight nod to your chin, but you're not jamming your chin down to your chest. Halfway there, hands behind the thighs, you can roll yourself up tall. Plant down through the feet, spread out through those hands. If you want to advance this one, hover your hips a couple inches off the mat. Let's go. Little bend and press. Tricep dips. Think about staying long through the spine. It's a small movement. It doesn't look like much, but it is challenging to do correctly. Rest. All right, come down to the mat. Hands behind your head. Elbows are wide, but you can see them in your peripheral vision. If you go too wide, you're going to puff open through the ribs. And remember, it's all about staying connected to that abdominal wall. Exhale, twist. Rest, hands behind the thigh, roll yourself up, final set, let's do it. We cool down after this, spread out through those hands, open through the chest, but connected to the front of your ribs. Let's go. Now, if these feel really awkward, you might just have to play around with how close to your hands your hips are. You might have to scoot back or scoot forward. Stay open and proud through the chest. Don't let those shoulders roll forward. So it's not a huge movement. Rest. Come down to the mat. Final round of that bicycle crunch. If you want to challenge at this last interval, maybe you take the full version with the legs extending out at a hover. Let's go. Final 20. And done. Awesome job. You can release your head down to the mat, arms by your side. I'm going to bring you through a quick cool down now. So I want you to reach your right leg long, and I want you to hug your left knee in towards your chest to start. If this is really uncomfortable for your hip flexors, you can also pull it kind of up and out to the side, more like towards your armpit. And we're going to come into a twist. So we're going to take this left knee, and we're going to bring it across to the right, coming into this spinal twist. And with your arms, it might feel good to kind of come to goalpost or cactus position. So you get that nice opening through the front of your shoulders and across your chest. Or maybe the arms stretch out in a T. And if this is a little too intense, you can take a pillow and put it under this left knee so that it's not hanging all the way down to the ground. One more deep breath here. And then let's roll through center and let's just switch sides. So now your left leg is going to reach long. Oop, kicking my dog's bed. Hug your right knee in towards your chest. We're going to come into that twist. So your right knee is going to come across to the left. Option to find goalpost with the elbows. A few deep breaths here. One more big inhale. Exhale, release. And then let's bring it back into center. Hands coming behind your thighs. We're just going to roll up and back a couple times until we come to seated. If you'd rather transition into a seated position another way, go for it. So I want you to have your right knee bent and the left leg long. So we're just going to get a nice stretch for the groin here. And then I want you to slide this left hand down the shin, coming into a side bend. Now maybe it just stays on your shin. Maybe you're able to grab your foot, but don't worry about how far it is. I want you to find the point where you personally feel a good stretch, but no pain. Now all we're going to do is change the rotation of our torso. So legs stay in this position, but on an exhale, I want you to square off your chest towards this extended leg so that both hands come down to the shin or the foot. Stacking the spine back up tall, we're just going to do that same thing to the other side to finish up. So your right leg goes long, bend the left knee. We're gonna start with the side bend, opening up through the side body. So we can just slide this right hand down our shin. Left arm sweeps up and over. With every inhale, think of expanding into the side body. And when you're ready, we're going to find that rotation swan and exhale. We square our chest off towards that leg. So both hands around the shin or the foot. And to finish up class, we're going to come to a comfortable seated position. And let's just take one big breath together. As you inhale, let's reach those arms up overhead. And as you exhale, lower them down through center. Awesome work today. I hope you enjoyed class. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new workouts here to YouTube for free every Monday, sometimes more frequently. And I also share additional workout classes on Patreon. And again, I have one more beginner Tabata workout that is linked to below in the video description. So if you like this particular class, definitely give that one a try. It is an old video, so don't judge me on the production quality. All right, I'll see you guys next time.